Marina smiled faintly. So, Vanchuer, will you accept? He inhaled deeply. Yes. He left that room with something beyond a paycheck or a title. He walked out with dignity. And now, every time he passes that stretch of I-35, he glances at the shoulder, not with fear, not with a sting of what could have been, but with quiet pride, because that's where he chose to remain true to himself, proving that what we do when no one's looking truly defines who we are and why life took a sharp turn after that meeting. The new job, logistics operations manager in NYC, felt surreal. The crisp new uniform, the ID badge, the glowing introduction at the company assembly as a paragon of integrity. Some colleagues applauded. Others just stared blankly. Not everyone appreciates unwavering principle. Suddenly, I had a company car, a corporate phone, access to the tracking system, even a laptop, all with my own passwords. For the first time in 22 years, I had a weekday lunch at home with my wife. We both cried. Her suspicion was palpable. This sudden promotion, a belated reward? I deflected, though I knew it was far more, a silent accolade for something nobody valued. Saying no and saying yes was so much easier. Then, 2 weeks later, Marina walked in. No power suit this time, just jeans, a black tee, and a messy bun. Her expression was softer, more human. "I need to talk," she said, cutting to the chase. She confessed, apologizing for the elaborate, manipulative test. I simply nodded. "You did what you had to," I said. She admitted she'd orchestrated the whole thing, believing it was the best way to find the right people, but witnessing my refusal, she saw the flaw in her approach. "What you did on that road wasn't just rejecting the bribe. It was planting a flag in a field of sellouts." Silence hung heavy. "Since that night," she continued, "I've been reevaluating my life, my choices, who I am. Maybe I need to learn to say no too." I saw a true regret in her eyes. A first. "Everyone has a tipping point, Marina," I offered, "that moment that divides who we are from who we want to be." Her genuine smile was a revelation. "Thank you, Vanchuer, for saying no. If you'd said yes that night, I would have lost faith in everything." And just like that, she was gone. The chapter seemed closed, but it wasn't. A new application landed on my desk. Impeccable resume. Stellar experience. It was Elias, a veteran driver, a friend known for his kindness, hard work, and easygoing nature. He'd been tested too. The interview was awkward. "Vanchuer," began, "I'm applying for a position on your team." I knew he'd taken the bribe. If he hadn't, he wouldn't be there, begging for a chance as a manager. We went through the motions, resume, experience, technical questions. Finally, he looked me in the eye. "You know I failed the test," he confessed, his head bowed. "I regret it every day." I met his gaze, firm but compassionate. "You still have time, Elias," I said, "but you'll have to start over. In my team, only those who can say no need apply." He stood, extending his hand, a new determination in his eyes. "Deal." It was a crossroads, a handshake, sealing a deal I wasn't entirely sure I could handle. One shot, I thought, one last chance to prove myself. His eyes, though, they spoke of a shared understanding, a silent acknowledgement of the weight we both carried. That's when I realized saying yes, in that moment, was only the beginning of a much longer journey. Now, I manage a fleet of 23 drivers. 6 have gone to the ringer. From made it, 2 didn't. None of them know about Amarillo, Texas, about that night on I-40 that still haunts my dreams. A night I can't fully explain even to myself. What matters isn't the story itself, the raw details, but what I built from its ashes. That stretch of highway is still there, with its cracked pavement, its greasy spoon diners, its faded promises. I still drive past it sometimes, glance at the shoulder, but it's not Sarah or the package I'm looking for. I'm searching for that spark, that moment of fierce self-reliance in the face of utter despair. So, when people ask about my biggest challenge, my heaviest load, I tell them it wasn't cargo. It was the responsibility, the integrity, the sheer weight of my own conscience. That handshake, that decision, charted my course, forged who I am. It was a brutal education, paved with setbacks and agonizing choices. Every mile, every hurdle, hardened my resolve. taught me to navigate uncertainty, pressure, and the crushing burden of accountability. I remember Sarah's hope, the trust in her eyes, a trust one almost betrayed. The responsibility wasn't just a physical weight, but the moral weight, the crushing responsibility of faith placed in my hands. But that weight, that crushing responsibility, is what shaped me, taught me to lead, to inspire, to never give up, even when the odds were stacked impossibly high. Looking back, I see that the heaviest cargo I ever hauled wasn't product. It was my own capacity for resilience, the grit I found within myself to keep moving forward, even when everything threatened to crumble. And that, more than anything, defines me. The road stretches ahead, long and winding, with new challenges around every bend. But Amarillo taught me to face them all with courage, determination, and a fierce commitment to responsibility. The memory remains, a guiding light reminding me of my pledge to integrity and excellence. Vance gripped the wheel, the endless ribbon of I-40 blurring under the harsh desert moon. Millions of dollars worth of cargo sat behind him, a secret that could shatter his life if his wife ever found out. He'd seen her there, a lone figure on the desolate shoulder, and the gnawing doubt had begun. Should he stop, ignore his conscience, and drive on? The risk felt monumental. He'd muttered a prayer, a desperate plea for guidance, before pulling over, the flashing lights a beacon in the vast emptiness. She was composed, almost unnervingly so. Simple jeans, a worn bag, a quiet grace that masked something sharper. Her eyes, though, held a chilling intelligence as she thanked him. The word precise, carefully chosen. He felt a prickle of unease. Her demeanor was too controlled, too perfect. She scanned the cab with an unnerving thoroughness, her gaze lingering on the GPS, the dashboard, the tracking device, as if intimately familiar with every piece of technology. "Where to?" he stammered. "Wherever you're going," she replied. The silence stretched, taut as a drum. Then the question hung in the air, a knife slicing through the calm. "Ever thought about walking away from it all, Vance?" His blood ran cold. How did she know his name? The smile she offered was thin, almost predatory. "I know a lot about you," she purred. He almost pulled over, the urge to flee overwhelming. But before he could react, she produced a thick envelope, placing it on the dashboard. Stacks of cash peeked from the edges. "What's this?" he croaked. "Enough to leave that rig behind forever," she said, her voice as smooth as ice. $850,000. His hands were slick with sweat. The absurdity of it, the chilling logic, threatened to overwhelm him. Her next words were a cold, calculated instruction. "In 30 minutes, you call your boss. You report a robbery, claim the cargo's gone, and walk away a victim, clean and rich." It wasn't a question, it was a command. The carefully constructed facade of innocence had finally crumbled, revealing a meticulously planned heist. He understood then. He wasn't rescuing a damsel in distress. He was caught in a perfectly executed trap. The envelope sat on the dashboard, a ticking time bomb, the weight of the money a physical pressure mirroring the weight of his mounting terror. $850,000. The price of freedom and the cost of his soul. The money was a king's ransom, a sum beyond imagining. But all I could hear were my kids' laughter, my wife's voice, and the crushing weight in my chest, a lump in my throat, the stark realization that saying yes was a point of no return. She saw my hesitation. "You haven't said anything," she snapped, her irritation sharp. Digesting the offer or the fear? I didn't answer. She pressed. "No one will ever know, I swear. It's all clean, untraceable. I'm just a connection. I don't even touch the goods. And if anything goes wrong, it won't. We've been doing this for months. It's never failed. You'll walk away with way more than what's in that envelope, if you play your cards right." I stared at the envelope. The scent of illicit wealth hung heavy in the air. I pictured the land, the truck for my wife, a life free from debt, sleepless nights, the constant dread of bankruptcy, the indignity of being just another undervalued, dependable driver. She locked eyes with me. "You know what happens if you keep saying no? Nothing changes. Years driving this road until an accident, an illness, or some kid replaces you. Game over. I'd rather that," I mumbled, "than betray what little I have left." She sighed, defeated. You're going to tell me you were raised to be content. That being good is enough. That honesty pays off. But it doesn't. That's when I slowly brought the truck to a stop, took a deep breath, and ordered, "Get out." Surprise flashed across her face. "Get out," I repeated. "This conversation is over. You have no idea what you're doing." "I do," she retorted, grabbing the envelope. "I'm doing what few dare to do, saying no and keeping my head held high." I opened the door. "Get out." Silence, broken only by the distant hum of traffic. She stepped out, watching as I drove away. I thought it was over, but I had no idea that was just the beginning of my real troubles. 2 days later, her face still haunted me. Her voice, her name, that insane offer, the envelope, all playing out in slow motion. But I'd done the right thing. I knew it. The delivery in Jacksonville went off without a hitch. Everything checked out, signed, perfect. No one knew a thing. My supervisor, my colleagues, my wife, my kids who waited up for me. Maybe it was fear, shame, or a refusal to acknowledge what almost happened. But it did happen. As soon as I finished signing, a crackle over the radio. "Vanchuer, get to the main office. The boss wants to see you, the big room." My heart stopped. I'd never been summoned. Never. I climbed the stairs, legs heavy, hands slick with sweat. I knocked. "Come in," a firm voice commanded. I walked in. There they were, Mr. Arnaldo, the trucking company owner, imposing, deep-voiced, an overwhelming presence, and beside him the woman from the road. But she wasn't the same. Vanchuer sat frozen. The woman, all crisp gray blazer, neatly pulled back hair, and a complete absence of anything remotely suggestive, looked utterly unremarkable. Gone was the sultry voice, the enigmatic air, the daring neckline. She was professional, impeccable, as if the events of 2 nights prior had never happened. Mr. Arnold, calm but firm, broke the silence. "Have a seat, Vanchuer." He didn't mince words. "This is Marina, my daughter. I thought you were joking." A near laugh, a near bow for the door, but Vanchuer was rooted. "What happened 2 nights ago wasn't a robbery attempt," Mr. Arnold continued, arms crossed. "It was a test." Vanchuer's mind spun. This was insane. "We've been hemorrhaging money," Arnold explained. "Cargo disappearing, drivers faking robberies, trackers mysteriously going dark. We realized we couldn't trust anyone." Marina's unwavering gaze met his. "So we decided to test our drivers, one by one. We planted a fake scenario, offered a bribe, laid out the perfect heist." Vanchuer's mouth went dry. Marina, unflappable, stated, "Most took the bait. Some hesitated, but ultimately caved." Arnold nodded grimly. "But not you. You sent her away, walked off like nothing happened." The pieces clicked slowly into place. The woman, the money, the whole elaborate setup. It was a cold, calculated trap, a ruthless filter to separate the wheat from the chaff. He'd passed, but the weight of it all was still settling. Arnold pushed a folder across the desk. "We're opening a new logistics hub in Austin, Texas. We need someone to run it, someone we can trust. Someone like you." Vanchuer's jaw clenched. "Him?" Marina spoke, a hint of something akin to apology in her voice, though it wasn't quite that. "You didn't just refuse a crime. You showed us who you are when no one's watching." He thought of the long nights on the road, the storms weathered, the threadbare mattress in the truck bed, the reheated coffee at greasy spoon diners. It had all led to this. The position includes a significant raise, company car, full benefits, and most importantly, time. Time for your family. Tears welled in Vanchuer's eyes. He couldn't speak, not from doubt, but from sheer, overwhelming emotion.